Hello, welcome to the HolmFront, where we keep everything objectively subjective. I'm Tyler, your host, and to my right, as always, is Mitch, my overly artistic friend. We just got done watching the Oscars, and if you have been paying attention or have cared about the Oscars at all and our takes on it, we had a video where we predict, or you predicted a bunch, and I just kind of guessed along. This is much more your baby than it is mine.
I am a movie buff, therefore I like the Oscars. I like the drama.
Well, you are a movie buff, but you're much more like this. You have this odd interest in award shows.
I
And
have
this-
that too.
Well, no. Let's call it an obsession. Let's call it what it is.
It is.
So
That's fair.
this
Accept
falls
this.
in that category. You've been interested in this for a while.
Well, I just find it fascinating because, we have to have it in some sense. Like, imagine a world in which you just never archived or cataloged anything, and it was just like, oh yeah, that was like a movie, I guess. It's like, it's nice to go back and be like, yeah, The Godfather won Best Picture. It should have. It was a great movie. You know what I mean? There's I find it very satisfying to be able to look back and yeah, they got some stinkers in there. But I still think it's important to be documenting just where culture's at the time. And here were the movies that we were really enjoying from that went over really well, that are worth revisiting, that kind of stuff, right?
Well, it makes it interesting when it is wrong, because then, you get to do the work of finding out why it was wrong and,
Yes.
where they missed, how they missed.
Yeah, there's even a merit to watching something like Crash or Shakespeare in Love, just because you go back and you're like, what happened?
Bad things happen. Tonight, though, it seemed like pretty good. It was a pretty good lineup.
Pretty good turnout.
Yeah.
And one battle, one Best Picture, as predicted, and
As predicted here on the
it
show.
should have. I'm glad it did. This was a great
Agreed.
Best Picture win. I think it'll
Yeah.
age very well. I think a lot of people are saying otherwise, but I don't think so.
I think it'll age great. I think that it's we talked about this in our review, that it kind of references old school type revolutionary-esque ideologies in general that seem to mirror today,
Mhm.
specifically 60s, 70s. And so it seems like it's already kind of an aged film.
Yeah.
And I think Paul Thomas Anderson was a great choice to convert that to film, because it's the book, right? But I've not read the book, so I don't know how closely it mirrors the book, to be fair. I have no idea.
Apparently not closely at all.
Okay.
He's kind of notorious for doing that, where he just veers off course. But nevertheless, yeah, it's like a film that sort of, it's like on the surface, a lot of people just want to use it to vilify the people they don't like, and to prop up the people that they do are aligned with politically or otherwise. And I think we've discussed before, we just don't really feel like that's really what the movie is about. It really is about just radical idealism, and how these characters, just of any kind, just go way off the deep end. And that's why they become these cartoonish caricatures in the
Right.
movie. And then you have the characters in the middle who are just caught in the crossfire of all of this nonsense going on.
Right.
So that's a simple interpretation that I've not heard anyone else mention, but I feel like that's the legacy that movie will eventually get once leveler
Hopefully
heads
we're
prevail.
Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see if we're right in time.
Yeah. Come back in 5 to 10 years. We'll see how it's doing.
Okay, so we don't have to go through each individual one.
Yeah.
And it seems like, on average, you were mostly right. But
I
before
guess.
we get into all that,
Yeah.
as a show, Oscars is 3 hours long, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., at least in our time zone.
It's a little bit longer. And
It's a long. Yeah, it did go long. It went
Yeah.
late. Looks like it probably went about 40 minutes too late. We're recording this almost directly after we watch it. It's a long show.
Yeah.
How do you rate it as a show?
I love how I'm asked to rate it with the reminder of how long it was, as if to illuminate
I
the
just
amount of
want
suffering
everyone
that
to
I put you
understand
through.
The context in which we asked this question.
Right. I mean, it is very true that every year we've been doing this, I torture you.
I mean,
It's
this is second annual, to be fair.
my
This is just
second
the
annual
time.
Torture Tyler Day, where I force him to sit through the Oscars, which he cannot stand. Yeah, I mean, I would give it I don't know, a 3 out of 5 kind of thing.
Okay.
I mean, I liked the production design. I thought the setup was great. I loved the green and gold color palette they had. I happen to be matching that today, and
I'm
that
not.
looked
This is
really nice.
these are my grief colors. The fact that I had to
Grief
sit through this in general.
And then I liked the 2 song performances. They played Golden and they
agreed.
played I Lied to You, and I thought those were both great.
Yep.
I don't usually care for the song performances, just like whatever, get this stuff over with. But I actually liked the 2 songs, so maybe that helped. They didn't feel like they were unnecessarily long either.
Yeah.
So that was good. I don't like, as always, just like before, I don't like the political jabs and pandering and the grandstanding that they do. And it's just kind of like sort of a roll of the dice of who's going to make a statement like that. Like you never know when someone walks up if they're just going to have some class and focus on movies and artistry, or if they're going to like veer off and start talking about something that they have no business talking about. So it's just always like how that's going to go. And yeah, there's a lot of that.
To be fair, some of them you had pointed out that some of the mini documentaries that they had up there were intentionally political already. And so some of those statements felt a little bit more warranted. So I'll give him that.
Yeah. Yeah. In documentary, I don't mind it nearly as much. But in everything else, there's no room for that.
Well, it's an award show for movies. We really liked, it was the sound and visual effects crews that would go up. Because they're not as public figures.
And the editor, the guy who won editing, was
that's
also,
right.
Yeah,
because a lot of the actors and stuff, they're always like out in front. And so these guys that are usually in the background that you don't really ever get to see, they came out and they seem they're grateful to be a part of this project. They always thank their families and the crews that are around them, people that gave them the opportunity. This feels a lot more classy than those that go up to use it as, like, oh, this is my moment to say something. And everyone's just like, I don't really care. Sorry, I'm here for your movie, not for your opinion.
Well, I guess this is kind of the disconnect, right? Is because the Oscars are really not for us. It's for the people working in the industry.
Right.
So it's just really a moment for, if you win, you can go up there and then it's like, okay, like here's a bunch of people in the industry actively working in it. And I'm being welcomed into that in a big way, and so there's a nice ceremony for it. So it's just kind of like, that's why I give them, I guess, a little bit of a pass. Like I don't feel like they need to pander to me, but that's what the political stuff feels like anyways. Cause it's like, if everybody in that room agrees anyways, then why do you need to say it? What's the point? So it seems like
because it's on a world stage. I mean, that was one of the things that Conan was saying, that it's going out to like 30 something countries or whatever. So it's something international and the art's supposed to connect us. And so therefore we have something to say that might be important but again, it's just like, you made a movie, man. F1 is like not your window into saying something.
Well, but F1 was never political, and that's the thing too. Is like sometimes there's a lot of instances too where it's kind of coincides with the political pandering thing, but it's like they come up there and they're like, well, my movie was about this. The story is about this. And it's like, look, if you just won, it stands to reason everybody watched it and voted you in. So I don't really think you need to remind us what was in the movie.
This year was the year where they implemented that you have to have seen the movie in order to vote on it. So there's that.
Okay, so we can no longer use that excuse. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. Last year that wouldn't have flown, but this year it's good. We're good. Okay, so outside of that, where were you most disappointed in this whole thing?
It's just, it's way too long. I mean, it's just ridiculously long.
Agreed.
Way too much.
Lord, 3 hours. Like, bro, just go up and say thanks and get off stage. Like, let's hurry it up.
Well, all the skits leading up to it too.
Yeah.
My gosh, I miss the days when you would just go up there, you would just say like, where would films be without great, original scores, and then you just say a little bit about great music, and here's a little bit about the nominees or something like that, and then here are the nominees, and then there you go. That's all it should be. And instead, it's like every time they brought someone up, they have to do a skit, and like sometimes it's funny here or there, but it's like it's not a comedy act. Like, can we get away from this? Like, it should just be class. And if you're only going for like, an hour and a half show, class works. I can tolerate an hour and a half of just class. That's fine with me. I think that'd be fine for a lot of people. Well, but there's like 10,000 commercials.
That too.
And so you're just like,
it's like Super Bowl when it's trying to, like, this is your time to shine. Whatever, whoever's trying to sell Crown or Grey Goose or whatever it is.
Rolex.
Every
year,
is one of them.
Rolex.
Trying to make their debut on the movie scene. It was strange. They were all trying to be very cinematic in their way that they did their trailer or their commercials, which I get it for the Oscars, but like I want to be done. I don't want 3 hours of this, please.
How would you rate it?
Rate the whole thing?
Yeah, the show.
Like a 2 out of 5. Good Lord. Like I'm one of those that like I go to the Super Bowl as a social event. right?
Yeah.
That's I don't care that much. So the same kind of goes for this. I'd rather just watch the highlights and like kind of see who won and why and like who was voting where. That's interesting. The whole event itself is just like, dude, just you should have ended like an hour and a half ago. Especially when like I'm not a big fan of Conan. I don't think he's that funny. I don't think
He's
his
not.
skits landed. And some of the other hosts that were up there, like it was just fall after fall. Like there was 2 skits that I thought were legitimately funny, and that was it. Now, out of the amount of skits that they put in the show, I was like, this is so too
Pretty
high of
bad
a fail
ratio.
road. Yeah, this ratio is terrible.
Which ones did you think were funny?
Casablanca would be the first one, and it was kind of a double jab. It was for Netflix, and then I think for audiences as well, because Netflix has this new rule now that they have to be very expository in their movies because too many people are on their phones and distracted when they're watching a movie. So they have to explain what's going on, otherwise people are not going to be interested in that show because it's not going to have longevity because no one's going to understand what's going on because they're not paying attention. So he redid the Casablanca in like a super expository fashion, and like on the nose, it's funny. That was good.
He's like, there she goes, the love of my life, the one who broke up with me, if you remember. He's like, didn't she used to be head over heels for you? Oh yes, she was. But given the World War II that's happening right now, it just didn't work out.
Most things that you would understand if you're watching the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any that you liked?
I like that one too. I especially like when the skit was ending and then he was like, all right, so now it's time for the next award. And then I forget who was with him. He was just like, and to be clear, this is for an Oscar, right? It's like, I gotta
have to remind them, oh yeah, we're watching the Oscars tonight, right?
That's so funny. That, and then the ending one, which wasn't really even a skit. It was just Conan O'Brien is getting accepted as if to be like the official
host for life
for the Oscars. Yeah. But it's like he's going through the same scene in One Battle After Another where he's being accepted into the Christmas Adventurers Club. So they just bring him out to this room and then they gas him.
They kill him and then they say Mr. Beast will be the ongoing host for life now.
Ongoing host. Yeah, exactly. The funny thing about it is that there's not really anything to the skit, that one. It's just the fact that the event's finally over, I think. So it was like this release of like, all right, just get out of here.
There was one other, it wasn't quite a skit, but it was funny. And that was when Adrian Brody came up. And if you guys remember last year, we watched it live and we referenced it on the show, but he had this speech that just
the longest speech in Oscar history, by the way.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
He broke the record.
Because he went up there and they're trying to kick him off the stage. They started shutting down the lights. They turn on the music and he's like, hey, hold on. I know what I'm doing. And actually, I think I'll just put in a clip here. So I'll just put in the clip so you guys can see from last year his speech, or part of his speech. I'm not going to do the longest speech in history. You don't need to go through that 4 minutes.
And the Oscar goes to Adrian Brody.
And I'm wrapping up. Please, I'm wrapping up. I will wrap up. Please turn the music off. I've done this before. Thank you. It's not my first rodeo, but I will be brief. I will not be egregious, I promise.
3 days later.
Okay, I'll get out of here. I love you. I appreciate you all. Let's fight for what's right. Keep smiling, keep loving one another. And let's rebuild together. Thank you.
But then this year, I'll put in the clip here. This year, he made fun of himself about having done that. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like the crew in the background was on board. They started playing the music and stuff. And he told them to stop in order to
he pulls out this all these pages of notes and scribbling. He's like, I just have a brief thing to say here, and it's just all of this paper. Just ridiculous.
Yeah,
but then
that was funny.
But then he closes it up and he's like, I really just have one. I just have this to say, and it's like, here are the nominees, and that's it. It's like, thank God, we can move on.
And he was presenting an award.
Yeah,
which that one he presented to Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, best.
And
actor.
I think, well, I don't know. They would have known, huh? I think that they were doing that in order for him to pass the torch to Timothy, but obviously Timothy didn't make it.
Well, no, it's just whoever wins best actor. It's not specifically for Timothy. Are you just saying that because Timothy was closest in line to win last year?
But you were talking about all those coincidences that he shared with Timothy, and so I thought that would be kind of their like way
the
of
fact that
acknowledging
he's
that.
another young actor, just as Adrian Brody was.
Right.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. No, I don't think it was done that way. So it's supposed to be, and this is actually the thing that I hate most about this ceremony, is because they changed the rule like a couple years ago, but it used to be that if you won Best Actor, the next year you would be asked to come back and present the award to Best Actress.
I like that rule. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a great rule. And then same thing, if you win Best Actress, you have to give it to the next Best Actor. But now it's Best Actor to Actor and Actress to Actress.
No.
What is that? What is that BS? Get it out.
I mean, I
hate
can
that.
see why you're sticking in your same category, but I like the kind of, passing the torch to each. That I don't know. That sounds cool.
Right,
Sounds very
because-
communal.
Yeah, because there's that element to it, and it's kind of like a gentleman and ladies moment, right?
Mhm.
And so there's like a nice kind of, it's just nice. It's nice. And I think every now and then they break it up where they have 5 actors from the previous 5 years winners come up and then say something about the next 5 nominees.
Okay.
Sometimes they do that. That's fine too as an occasion. But like, seriously, it's just go back to the way it was. Like, what's this weird attitude about like, well, God forbid a man hands a trophy to a woman or vice versa. Like, what
Is
difference
that the
does it make?
reasoning though?
I don't know what the reasoning is.
okay.
Why are we doing it this way? I'm trying to guess, and all I can think of is
I
that
mean,
they don't
I
like.
appreciate the segregation personally, but that's to each his own.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like we're weirdly fragmenting it out. Like, why? There's no reason for this. This is stupid. So
That's fair.
go back to the way it was. I mean, talk
Also,
about like,
also cut down Best Picture to 5, please. That was another one. I was like, oh my gosh, too many in here.
yeah, that one gets really tedious because it's like, so many of them don't really have a shot. But even when it's down to 5, it's usually like, it's not usually that up in the air. I mean, I'm trying to think if there was ever a year where there were 5 nominees and it was genuinely unclear which would win going into it among the 5. Usually it's like maybe between 2 or 3, potentially 4. But to be like really torn over all 5, that's why sometimes it's weird. Like you see online where people are talking about like, oh man, like this person's like trying to go for an Oscar and stuff. And I'm just like, they have no chance of winning. Like that's insane. And they know that. Everybody has to know that.
To be fair, nominated, it also holds some kind of value to it. So,
It does.
So, I mean, there's that. And I understand that they're trying to give more films a chance that way. But everyone knew that it was just down to 2 options. And to be fair, that was close. It was a close race between those 2.
To be honest,
But-
I don't even think it was that close in the end because Sinners came away with 3 wins for cinematography, best actor, and what was that other one? Oh,
Wasn't it sound or song or I think it's soundtrack.
score,
wasn't it?
original
Yeah.
score, yeah. So that's pretty low. Like I was like,
Especially for 16 nominations.
yeah, I was predicting at least 4, and I was like, it's probably gonna get like more like 5 or 6, and it totally missed cast. That was the big surprise, I think.
That's fair.
Once one battle took cast, I was like, oh, that's it. Because it's like, if you can't even win cast, like, because that was the whole big strength. That was the one category for which we felt like, okay, you've got this one in the bag and no can do.
I mean, Michael did win, so. And
He
he was
did.
Best Actor, so there was that.
But, and I will say, I changed my prediction. I did get that one right. I changed it at the last minute and I left
You
a
did.
comment on the other
It was
video.
a comment. You can check the time code if you care.
Yeah. Because I was like, I forgot that like the resentment towards young men in acting categories. It's real.
Michael's still really young, though. I
But
mean,
again,
what
it's
is he,
different.
like late 30s?
He's like 39. But here,
Okay.
the thing with Michael B. Jordan is that he doesn't really do the kind of movies that Chalamet does.
Chalamet definitely is going for the Oscar in all of his choices.
Chalamet
Yeah.
is like our contemporary Al Pacino, our contemporary Leonardo DiCaprio. So they're going to do the same thing to him that they did to those other two men, where
You're
it's
gonna
just
make him
like,
work for it?
whatever, I can just give him this whenever I feel like it because he'll be around. So they just vote for other people and they just make him wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And they
So do
totally
you-
disregard what his performance is. It's just like, well, you can be nominated 1,000 times, but when I feel like it, in a year of weak competition, I'll give you the win.
So do you think Timothy's hurting his chances by only choosing those films?
No,
Oh, okay.
not at all. I mean, because right now, if anything, he needs to just build up that rapport of nominations. In order for him to win, he needs to have like 7 nominations behind him.
Okay.
Whereas like someone else, well, you can just get in because you may not come back.
Fair. Yeah, some of those are like, we're going to the end here. All right, we gotta give him one. He doesn't have that much left in him.
But you know what's fascinating about this and what makes it hard to predict is that the rules seem to change depending on what category you're looking at. Because then we go to supporting actor, and by all accounts, it should have gone to Stellan Skarsgård or Delroy Lindo, because it's like these guys have been around for a long time. They've done lots of movies. They've never been
Well,
nominated.
Delroy even mentioned that to the casting director. He's like, thanks for giving an old guy like me a chance. I've been around for a while, but thanks.
Right, and he's like, here was a performance where I've finally been really recognized for my work here. And so it's like, you know, you would think they would have gone for like, all right, someone who like hasn't won before, here's my chance to give them an Oscar. And instead they just went with Sean Penn again for his third win.
That was funny. That was hilarious. That was another golden moment of the night for sure. The fact that he wasn't there at all.
Right.
And then, yeah, the guy who was a
Kieran
Culkin,
Culkin,
Culkin up there, who's like, well, he's not here for reasons that we don't really understand, or maybe he just doesn't want to be, but I'll accept it for him. He doesn't want to be.
I did think that was great. He's like, he maybe just doesn't care to be here. Because he like highlighted the obvious. Like, he just doesn't care. He has 2 wins
Right.
already. This is his 3rd one. And it's not that it's undeserved. It's totally deserved, but it's just funny how they're like, here, the performance matters. But then in Best Actor, it's like, that's not the case. Because otherwise it would have gone to Ethan Hawke or Timothy Chalamet or something like that. I've even seen people saying like Leonardo DiCaprio would have been a good win there because it's unusual. Like, he's finally got his comedy side down, and he can do that really well. And I agree with this was a good showcase of him. Like, I have comedy locked in now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have to say, like, as much class as Michael B. Jordan has, because he definitely has, and he was definitely one of the hottest men in the room by far.
He's just got, like, if charisma was a person, then
who doesn't age. I don't think he's going to age either.
No. A lot of people in that room, I was like, these people are probably vampires. I'm going to go with that. I'm a vampire. I was born in 1601.
Yeah, for real. I was hoping, actually, if Marty Supreme won casting, Kevin O'Leary should have gone up and been like, I've been waiting for this since I was 1601. But yeah, I just don't know how well that performance will hold up. The Sinners win for Best Actor. Gotta say, calling it now. So there's so many people who get like inflamed, raged about it. And I'm like, I guess it's like he's doing a performance of like Jack of all trades. So it's just a very unusual win because he plays like no less than 5 different character types.
Right.
He's got to be 2 different gangsters. He's got to be a vampire. He's got to be a vampire hunter. And then he has like some drama stuff he's got to do at the end.
Right.
So I guess that's the idea, is that he had to juggle a lot. But like, if I'm just looking, but I feel like he was backed a lot by his previous recognition in like Creed and other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we all recognize he's a great actor. There's nothing to that or nothing negative to say there. But it's just like this performance, I just don't get it. And I don't think a lot of people get it. And I think in hindsight, when we look at the decade, like, kind of an odd win, but okay. Especially when you're compared with like the Timothy Chalamet performance. Again, it'll be like that Al Pacino thing where you're just like, how did he not win for The Godfather? Everybody's still dumbfounded because they're like, how?
Well, there's that, and then there's stuff like The Rock, for instance, who wasn't even nominated in the first place. Like,
that was a big snub.
That is a huge snub. And that's, so one of the ones that actually I didn't realize was there was Amy Madigan, is that her name?
Yeah.
She came up for Weapons and got to win. Is it Best Actress, Best Supporting
Actress?
Supporting Actress in that one. I didn't even know she was up there, but she's weird, by the way. That was a strange speech. But I'm really glad she did it because she did a stellar performance in that movie. But yeah, a lot of the snubs, like for instance, The Rock, seem like that's a lot more of an Oscar-worthy performance than something like Michael B. Jordan did. But that's not to say that someone like Michael B. Jordan doesn't deserve an Oscar. It just seems like this is the weird is a weird choice for him to.
It's a weird role to give it for.
Right.
Yeah, that's the association we're trying to point out here. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, again, it's like you had that option for like Stellan and Lindo, but it's like, nope, we're going with Sean Penn. This performance wins all. But then you go to lead actor, and it's like, well, come on, let's go for Michael B. Jordan. It's like, but did we watch Chalamet and Marty Supreme?
Right, yeah,
Well, you know what I
exactly.
mean? So then it creates this weird disconnect where you're like, okay, help me get there.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, it is what it is. And now we get to either hate it or love it for what it is, and we get to research all the reasons why.
I think from now on, though, it's like next time Timothy's up, which will probably be in a year or two, I'm just going to be like, not winning. I'm just going to have to stick to that. I was right.
You're going to have to give it like 20 years.
I'm going to wait till he's older. Yeah.
Figure out how long Leo was waiting, and probably just gauge it around there.
Yeah.
There you go.
And Al Pacino, I'm going to gauge it in. Well, you'll just wait for, again, a year of like kind of weak competition, because that's how it worked for DiCaprio. I actually don't remember Pacino's competition. I'd have to look that up. But I know he won it for a performance that people were like, okay, like, I mean, he's Al Pacino, like everything he does is great, but you know, again, it's just like a weird one. It's like, why this one? Anyways, it was still a great night.
It was.
In terms of like what won, I'm glad that one battle swept for the most part. It got
did.
6 wins. I did pretty well. I got 19, missed a couple, but I did land singers for, what was it, one of the shorts, because that was one of the ties.
But it tied, so you were only half right. You're only half right. You're only half right. And 19 out of how many? You
24.
Okay, so you only mostly.
But there's like 4 shorts that are impossible. You just have to random die roll.
No,
those.
that's okay. You got it wrong. Just take the L. That's cool.
Wasn't my best year.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a new predictor next year for our 3rd annual. I'll have someone who will get me closer to 100. It'll be a tough category, but anything else you want to say about the Oscars?
Well, I'm glad One Battle won. Sorry, I thought that was the best movie from the year. Should have won.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I'm glad
Marty would have been a close second for sure, but One Battle definitely had more of an impact.
Yeah. And I was glad to see Paul Thomas Anderson finally win. I've been watching some of his movies.
He also said something about that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's like, you really make a guy work for one of these.
But he made it.
Because it's been his whole life.
Yep.
And he's
got
like
there.
coming up on 60 now, is he? And he was like 25 when he started making movies. That's a long time to go.
But he's got some pretty huge names, so I mean, people will know who he is.
Yeah.
This is just the one that got him over the finish line.
Yeah, basically.
Tough year too. 16 nominations for Sinners. I mean, that was a hurdle. Well done, sir.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, tune in next year for another torturous session of the Oscars.
Torturous session.
I did enjoy most of the movies, to be fair. It's just the ceremony that gets old.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch 3 hours of some of those movies than 3 hours of them talking about them.
That's fair. Yeah, so you feel like this was a better year for movies than last year?
I was more entertained overall. Yeah, I think so.
I think it's kind of tricky too. I feel like this year was better for movies, but it's like it's tough when you're going through it and you've got like your feelings are all out of whack because of how the nominations went down. Because last year they snubbed Dune 2 really hard.
Really hard.
And that sucked.
Yeah.
So like if you were a Wicked fan, you probably had a miserable time this year. Because that didn't make an appearance whatsoever.
Yep.
So that totally went down the drain.
It was actually, you walked out at some point, but after, in one of the commercial breaks, they brought up Wicked 2. They're like, hey, it's coming to Paramount. And I was like, hey, I don't care. Sorry, I'm not interested in watching For Good. It just does not look interesting to me at all. I didn't like the first one much. I thought it was too long, and I thought that it got way too much recognition last year. I'm glad that For Good didn't get any recognition this year. They should have just pulled in Dune 2 and been like, you know what, sorry about last year. We're going to give it this year. Best Picture.
Yeah, they're not perfect, the Oscars, but
They're not.
they do. I do feel like they're an interesting like beat to check in on.
Yeah.
And it's nice when it kind of hits an uphill, but it is also very interesting because we are in the age of internet. There's no uniform consensus anymore. Like when Titanic won, everybody just agreed that was the best movie of that year.
Sure.
And now with the internet, everybody's like, no, it should have been LA Confidential. And there's that camp that has emerged. And so nowadays, it's like you get it immediately.
Right.
So now you got the Sinner stands that are going to be all upset because they feel like one battle's too political or whatever. And it's like, okay, but I don't know. I feel like they've been doing okay the last few years. I thought Anora was a good winner given the situation. I'd much rather Dune.
Yeah.
That was the movie of the year by far. And even like Nosferatu. And there were a couple other films. I was like, well, these really should be in contention too. Like September 5, that was a great one.
Yeah.
But it's like among what they had, I was like, okay, well, I'm happy to see Anora because that was at least a really good film among this list. So I'll take it. But this one, I was like, yeah, this is either this or Marty Supreme. Those are the best.
That's fair. Oh, anything else you want to add?
Nope. I enjoyed it. Thanks for suffering on my behalf.
Well,
That's my Oscar trophy.
To be fair, it adds some value to the show, I hope. And so let us know how you enjoyed it, by the way. Let us know what you thought.
Yeah, if I ever win one of those, I'm going to be like, I hope you're watching, suffering through this ceremony.
I'm probably going to be in the stands at that point. Yeah. Like I said, comment what you guys thought. If you liked what the winners were. If you didn't, you thought that the Oscars were just not worth watching at all, that's totally fine.
How'd you do prediction-wise?
Oh, yeah. If you guys predicted anything, yeah. Fine. What's the app that you use or you do all the prediction things?
Awards Expert.
Awards Expert. Yeah, so if you want to go hound him,
Yeah,
find him on Awards
just my
Expert.
full name.
Let him know
Mitchell
how he's
Kopitch.
wrong. Mitchell Kopitch. Cool. Thanks for watching. So you made it to the end of the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you thought.